Pisces. Alright, welcome to this place. Welcome back if you're returning. So, Pisces. I just want to mention a few things before we jump in your cards. Well, number one, I hope you're doing good. And I wish you well no matter where you're at. And remember, even on a cloudy day, you ever fly in a plane on a cloudy day and you go up above, it's always sunny, right? So, I'd also like to mention, specifically, it seems to be, most of you like astrology. I was actually thinking before your reading about how much Pisces loves to learn, you know, and how inspiring that is. So thank you so much for being, well, for who you are, but particularly I like that part of you too. It's, again, it's inspiring to me. But all the mutable energies, so Pisces, Virgo, your opposite, Gemini, and Sag, all seem to be in this time frame, like talking about the really real stuff. And I actually recorded a bunch of extra readings, but they were like, when I had the energy to do it, I did it. But I will say that they were, all the mutable particularly is usually so laid back, you know, and easygoing. And it's not to say that this time frame is going to be like crazy or something. It's just, it was a little bit different than like what's usually on the surface. It's like, instead of being not so hot, not so cold, it's like these mutable, again, these signs, and this is all in your map. You have all of these. It's like these are becoming like hotter, meaning there's like fire behind something and passion. But I feel like the passion is less like romantic, sexual. It's like real, like where it's like, okay, no, we need a fire. Like it's like practical fire. Mars and Capricorn kind of energy. So anyway, I made a bunch of them and I put them over on Patreon because they were way too intense. I felt like they were too private to be in this public zone. So if you're over there, and there's actually a lot of Pisces over there, and thank you. Again, your want to learn and grow in this life, it makes such a difference. So those will be up. Some of them are already up. Actually, Pisces and Virgo are, but the additional ones will be up there. And we're going to try to look at this now, like maybe from a different perspective. If you want to check those out, if you join the Timeless Traveler tier, you can have access to all of them and everything else that's already been up there. So I just wanted to share because I feel like, especially if any of you are going through, I don't know, like, because the readings were like more in these other layers of relationships and like the healthiness of them. It reminded me of the true love only. And Pisces, what do you want? Venus is exalted in your sign. You want love, but not just like sexual love. You want spiritual love, right? Love that lasts, love that's real. So maybe we be graced with wisdom and understanding as we read these cards. Okay. Let's see these first three. Clean your space, tough fight, an ego check. I have to, okay, so this is, we can't ignore the energy. This is what I was trying to do. So I was trying to be like, okay, well, this is way too intense. Like, let me try again. Oh, this is way too intense. Let me try again. That's the energy that's coming through you. I don't know if this is present or what you're cleaning the space of the past. I don't know. But the other side of this is life jacket. You sure? Or no life jacket. You sure? With sad music. So somebody here. I don't know if this is you or somebody else, but there is somebody here that doesn't think ahead before they do things, and there could be a situation, because it's coming up now. I'm seeing this more as like a warning, not to scare anyone. It's just like, no life jacket. No, you rule the sea. You bring a life jacket. Even if you're the best swimmer ever, you don't go in the middle of the ocean with no life jacket. You know, because this could be like a suggestion where someone's like, "Hey, how let's do this," and it's just like somebody ought to ask, "You sure? Are you certain?" Like, what's the driving force? Sad music, right? That's making. And I saw the word loneliness. So you want to watch the driving, all that fire. What is the driving force right now? Okay. Good morning. Let's look what's in the heart of the matter. Is that where we should start? Yes. Oh, the Five of Lightnings. So this was in Libra's like intense shadow reading during this time. So this is all about relationships. And we are actually meant to speak about relationships at this time. The way Gemini is, the way Venus is, being a Taurus season, all of this. So the heart right now, the Five of Lightning is the Five of Swords. Do you remember what we talked about in the True Love reading when we get to the Five of Swords? It means that goes back into that tough fight, right? It's where people want to understand, someone wants to understand, and wants to be understood, wants to be understood. But this is a repeat conversation, so someone has to take up their, in this is your reading, I would say it would be wise for you to take up a leadership position, which we talked about in the yearly reading, to take up a leadership position, to speak from your heart, whether that's hard or soft, not necessarily the words being hard or soft, right? Not too hot, not too cold, this one's just right, right? But with faith, this is finding faith in oneself to speak the truth, even though the next step would entail going to a new place and not knowing what the future may bring, but keeping that truth, that faith, that clarity in your heart that you made your decision. So don't go back on what you said. Okay, it's important that there's no, I guess that's the point, there's important that it's no contradiction. All right, let's see what's in this line. The Call, which is judgment, and then we have the Princess of Nuggets. I just saw Gemini. Let's open these all up. Pisces. Transformation, so there's the Death card, Scorpio, Queen of Lightning. We have air, strong, intelligent air energy that's also helping you right now. There's information that's helping you to understand more of what's going on in your heart and how to be clear about that. 10 of Nuggets. Okay, that's the 10 Nuggets. That's the 10 of Earth. We have the 9 of Nuggets, which is about singlehood and faith solidifying. 4 of Lightning. Okay, so the 5 turns into 4, the 10 turns into the 9, and then we have the 7 of Rods. Give me a second, please. Let's look at the bottom. 2 of Cups. 2 of Blossoms. Okay, Pisces. So someone's having a complete shift in their heart, and you know, it's interesting. I usually don't go straight into this love. I'm even using the Tarot of Love reading. Again, it's just like we're in this time for some reason. So it's like this. I suppose all right, I don't want to stay on the surface. I want to really see what's going on. I want to really get to the. It's not about digging too deep into the earth because I feel like a truth is already known. It's more about like someone coming to have peace in their heart, right? And maybe acknowledge why. Okay. Well, let's go one by one. No, we have to make lines first. If you are in a relationship right now and you cannot express yourself, if you are, um, if wherever someone cannot speak their truth, where they're hiding the truth, where there's a lot of like pushback and disagreements, and it's constantly like this battle. Now, of course, all relationships go through changes, but there's a difference between, I keep seeing it, true love only. True love only. Not fake love, not half-ass love, not just sexual love, not just like this is fun love. This is like dedicated, spiritual, it's all encompassing love. That's what's important. So, again, if you're in that position, I would say that it would be very likely that someone's very unhappy with that relationship, and they, if not now, in the future, they will decide to be single. Now let's talk about it that way. Say you've already gone through this, when this lesson is learned, right? And then we get to this point of singlehood. Well, then the spiritual, like awareness, it's like someone wakes up, right? And what actually will wake up then, I suppose, is sort of a pain, right? It's because you're gonna realize, you're gonna be like, oh wait, something gets caught on something. Actually, your other reading did this. It's like you get caught on something, and then you're like, what is that? And it's like this picker that's like getting pushed out. This old thing gets pushed out. But what's cool is that it comes to the surface so that it can be removed, which then helps the heart transform in such a way that, and I heard this brings clarity, right? This brings clarity. Clarity. Gotta throw some sugar on this, some humor on this. Um, and then that starts to get a person to think about more long-term understandings about what's enough or not, what is acceptable or not, what they deserve, what a person deserves or not. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, this could be one of those situations where some people just date, and like they date, but like it never is like, I don't know. Like, do you want to be, are you a wife or a husband? Do you want to be a wife or a husband? Do you have children? Do you want children? These are like the bigger questions. Do you want to own a home? And it's more of this like Capricorn, Saturnian, again, long-term energy. You're meant to look at the long-term plan. And I guess wherever you're at right now, if that is not seeding, or rather, you want it to ensure that what you're working with has not just the potential, but like can actually, you're psychic. Can you see this in the future? Right? That kind of thing. You want to look, you want to look towards what's your future looking like? And I heard make it less about like the place or the person, things like that, of what you want to connect with. It's more of what you want that to be clear about that. Maybe you want to write about it. Okay? And I would also say what there is something here, because it's almost like, sometimes it takes the heart longer. It takes the rather sometimes it takes the mind longer to accept what the heart already knows. Do you know what I mean? And we fight that as humans. We do, because we don't want to be alone, right? Whether that's people or stuff that we surround ourselves with or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? So I heard, don't be afraid to be alone. It would just be, because we're not meant to be alone, right? No. And so how are you connecting right now, and how are you liking to connect? And I see, companionship. And companionship, remember, this is a companion. I mean, shoot, Zumi was my best companion I ever had. It doesn't have to be, this doesn't have to be romantic or sexual or something like that. This is creatively. This is friendship-wise. This is artistically, right? It could be family, things like that. And I suppose whoever's going through this big transformation of heart, I would say that it would be very helpful for to talk to somebody about it. Because this is someone also, I think this very well, because transformation is here. So some of you are, of course, further down the line where this has already been gone through. You don't want to repeat the lesson. That bad relationship ended. You know what I mean? And you probably, things like that. That relationship ended, things like that. If we start out with this transformation, I want to make sure we're still recording. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. Oh, I feel anxious. If we kick this back to the transformation being the technical first card, that means, again, there is a change in the heart that's really, really big. And you want to acknowledge that. Like, your feelings, And if you're feeling down on yourself, you will feel better. I heard, remember that reading, like, God knows what your heart needs, right? Spirit knows what we need. We don't even have to tell him. But for you, communication, because it's your square, is very helpful. Whether this is happy or sad. And honestly, that lesson, those of you who have been practicing verbally communicating, like keeping good boundaries, practicing writing and conscientiously, like, looking at family stuff and looking at your careers and all of this, like, again, long-term kinds of things, then I actually see that, don't worry, because Spirit is totally backing you. And I actually see this as a person, if you want. This is also a reconnection with yourself and your soul. I heard putting the heart back together. But I can also see this as kind of like in this deck, this is like a soulmate card. Like a real soulmate. Where each are whole. That which you're connecting to. There's no holes in the boat. You have the same goals in life. You have the same ideas in life. It's things like this. It's not like one person's trying to fix another person, because honestly, your other reading talked a lot about trauma having to do with toxicity and either like a savior complex, or it went in these deeper things, or just I know you and Libra and Taurus never want anyone to be, maybe a bit of Cancer too, like, never really want anyone to be sad. And this is all like fixer energy. But like, what about your own feelings? It's important to find those valid as well. Okay? So, because again, once this transformation card is worked through, again, there's clarity in mind, and then, and you'll actually know. And actually, if I need to say it again, because again, these readings are for the people who are stuck the most, right? Presently speaking. Whoever's in just a purely like a dating or like a sexual relationship, or again, there's a lot of fights and that kind of stuff. Like it gets into this like small blockage, small blockage, small blockage, and it never really gets fixed. It just sort of gets band-aided or like rug swept. It's like someone has to make a conscious decision about that. Once a person does, their money, their security, all of this really starts to grow. And I actually see a lot of positivity with that. So perhaps that's where a person is meant to put a bit of their energy right now, is into more of this practical, again, long-term sort of world, you know? Look at your money, look at your future, look at, you know, regardless of your age, do you want to be a parent? Do you want to be married? You know, think of retirement depending on where you are. I mean, really, think about retirement no matter, you could be 20. I wish someone would have told me about saving for my latter years when I was that young. You know, instead of all the partying I did and dicking off and dating shitty people. You know, I mean, it's all life lesson, but you know what I'm saying? Like, no regrets, no remorse, right? But there is some kind of awakening, because you know what I think it is like maybe some people, somebody here accepts less than who, like what they're really worth. They also think with nuggets, I think of like, sometimes the way I'm seeing this card here is like, okay, we got 10 of Pentacles on top of this, or this little Page of Pentacles. It's like, what do you want? You know what I mean? You know how some people, like, they'll take a crumb when they should have like a whole cookie? You know, some people think like, think about, okay, we gotta just talk about this. It's like, you know how someone treats you badly and then they give you like one, or they do something really bad and then they give like one little nugget of love. So a person's like, oh, okay, I'll stay here. Like I got a good thing out of it. But if you did the checks and balances, Queen of Lightning, this strong air female here is like, no, you, this energy is giving advice that like you deserve more. You deserve better. Okay? I mean, that takes your work, that takes your faith, that takes your correct action, right? But that's where the deserve comes in, is because you work for it, right? God helps those who help themselves, and that's actually what it is. A person releases themselves from some kind of pain and suffering, finds clarity, starts working towards their own, like working towards something that's actually more fruitful for them, that's more in line, I heard, with their soul. Then it's actually like spirit backs that, so that whatever's frictional in the heart, maybe having to do with, I mean, fives to me always go back to childhood or in our younger years. Again, sex, like risk, all this kind of stuff. Gamble, right? It's gamble. Right? No life jacket. No life jacket. You sure? No, you don't. Because you want to make sure, I heard, that you are something is secure, right? Reliable, responsible. It has, truly has long term. Well, I saw the word potential again, but potential is just a night. Remember this too, I guess. I'm seeing that potential is not reality. It's not. We can fall in love with someone's potential sometimes, or what we just want to see. Pisces does that. I've done it. I have Pisces in a weird place in my map, which makes me very illusional. So back, especially back in the day, God, I was so illusional to like what was attractive and like what I what I chose to see. And people can trick Pisces, you know, especially if you have a lot of it in your chart. You can be tricked by what is right in front of you. So you have to be Queen of Swords really, really clear. This is where Libra helps you a lot. So, again, I see Spirit is backing and supporting you. Please express what is on your heart. Okay? Yes. Now, I do see that someone learns the lesson here. And how they do is after you're sad or after you're processing something, deal with something really deeply emotional or soulful or scary or whatever you're working through, a disagreement even, please make sure you wash your hands. After you energetically deal with someone, wash your hands, because you may be carrying like the energy of someone else. Okay? You got to know what's your energy and what's someone else's energy. Now, I see if you are single right now, if we work through this, it means those of you who have worked through this lesson again, and then you've come to this place, because when you really love your own company, you know what I mean? When you got to love yourself. You got to be comfortable with yourself, you know? Be at peace with yourself. When you get to that stage, and Nine of Nuggets is like, this is Nine of Pentacles, is like, it really is a person. They handle all their bills. They take care of themselves physically. They love their own company. They're not necessarily like super social. They're quite attractive, actually. Very spiritual too. They find a lot of their spiritual connection through nature, like through wood, through the woods, through plants, things like that. Nature is really helpful for them. This also has a castle in the background. So maybe there's something about working towards home, something like that. But when one is comfortable, comes to find this comfortability in themselves, then, well, I see it's important to work through this before winter season comes. Like, maybe this is now until like September for some of you. And there's something about Libra that's really important. Let's see this. Well, I suppose once a person comes to understand and enjoy themselves and their own company, and again be comfortable in their own skin and learn whatever this lesson is that we just talked about, you know, really gets into it. I mean, I don't know if we ever get an A+ and we're like, okay, done that lesson. It's like sometimes it's got to roll. But really, you don't run into the Seven of Rods then. You run into the Ten of Blossoms, which the Ten of Blossoms, which is the Ten of Cups. This is a happy family. Usually there's children. There's a nice home. Ten of Pentacles is like solid security. Again, it represents a like working together. This is great jobs, like working towards the future. And then all of these, if you can see, have these cranes on them. They all have these cranes. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so some of you don't want, somebody doesn't want to do something, like let go. I mean, this could even be of physical objects for some of you. I guess this could relate to people. But like there's a comfort zone, perhaps, you know, something that supposedly feels comforting, but I feel like to reach the star, there's another crane. To reach the star, this only comes after the tower, right? Which means we strip away all that is no longer needed all that was surface, all that was fake, all that was all the things built on fear or any kind of sin, you know, lust, greed, pride, whatever. It's like those kinds of things, when it's built on that, 2 of rods, 5 of rods, then it always gets stripped away. You know, so I heard, don't be afraid again to let go. And maybe going through what you're connected to, whether this is physically right now, or also what is connected in your heart, if this is an old space too. You know? Because I could see where this is a person perhaps that blames themselves for being like, I can't change them. Like, they don't, and then it's like, because someone else won't change or grow or whatever, it's like, then a person starts beating themselves up like they didn't help them enough. But that goes into that martyr complex, and you have to be careful of that. Right? Because an equal partnership is equal. I want to read a book. Hold on. What do we got for time? Hold on. What's the time? I can't tell. Ah, just a second. Oh, 31. Hold on. Be right back. Oh, I opened right up to the page. Okay, we were supposed to do this. You know how that happens? When, like, trust the synchronicities of things, okay? This X I saw, whether this is one from the past or one that will be being made, which is also, it marks a place in the sand. It's called Gabo. Okay? So this is an indication that partnership in some form is at hand. Okay? In love relationships, in business matters, in partnering of every kind. You are put on notice not to collapse yourself into that union. For true partnership is achieved only, true love only. Let's read that again. For true partnership is achieved only by separate and whole beings who retain their separateness even as they unite. Remember, let the winds of heaven, this air sign is strong. With this judgment card, you know, it's like, let the winds of heaven dance between you. At the same time, there is another aspect of partnership that you are being called to consider. For the path of partnership can lead you to the realization of a still greater union. Union with the higher self, union with the divine. The ultimate gift of this rune is the realization of the divine in all things. God always enters into equal partnership. So that may also be another very easy indication for you here, is that, like, how is God a part of your relationship? You know, how is spirit involved in that? And I suppose if it's lacking, then this could be a clear indication that it's not fair, right? People don't have to believe the same things. It's like the sense of spirit in oneself, right? And again, for true partnership is achieved only by separate and whole beings. It says, Gabo is the rune of partnership, which has no reverse, for it signifies the gift of freedom, from which flow all other gifts. And then I looked over here, and I'm seeing this no life jacket. This is, there is a subtle caution here against carelessness. The self is required to balance the self. Nothing in excess was the second phrase written over the gateway of the Temple of Delphi. The first counsel was, know thyself. I see herein lies the secret of experiencing a true present. Six of Blossoms, and there's the Fool. It's like that's connections that are genuine, that are not karmically messy, you know. And I do see some of you either had already let go of this relationship, or some of you have to let go. Now, if you're married or something like that, you rule your life, and I'm not supporting that exactly. Two of Blossoms. Yeah, if you've been together, you're married, you have children, please go to counseling, right? Please try to sort that out. But if this is just a dating thing, you're just friends with benefits or something like that, no. And I would say, if you are single, to close this out, if you are single right now and you've been working through this, I do see a person coming to you that's very beautifully soulful and long-lasting. But for now, focus on, again, I see that connection with your higher self, connection with spirit, focus on your work. Again, look to the future. Take the person out of it, like what they look like, or what it's more of the characteristics of the future, your home, your job, your partner. Okay? Put some focus there. Put some writing there. Sit with that there. Okay? Please. Yes, 3 of nuggets, because 3 nuggets, because that's what I call my niece. I have 2 nieces, but my youngest niece, little nugget. But yeah, 3 of nuggets here is really, this is creative. It's self-mastery. This is perhaps for some of you taking a talent of yours and turning it more into figuring out how to use that to sustain yourself. Like, even financially a little bit. It may not be for all of you like a full-time thing, but it could be something that helps, right? I heard God willing and the creek don't rise. All right, 4 of Wands, yeah. And there's the Emperor. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Spirit. All right, I hope this is helpful, Pisces. Please have a most wonderful now. Talk to you later. Peace out.